All right, you know what time of year it is. The new year is fast approaching, and for a lot of people, that means it's time to start thinking about resolutions and really making positive changes. But that's often a lot easier said than done. The process itself can be pretty overwhelming and even discouraging when you fall short of your expectations. So how can you set yourself up for success? Katie Horwitch is here to break down how to make change actually happen. She's an author and mindset coach. Katie, thank you so much for doing this.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah,
perfect timing.
Perfect timing, right? I mean, we know how this goes at the beginning of the year when everyone's so excited to sort of set and name their intentions.
Yeah.
But a lot of people really struggle with just even starting. What is that first step?
Totally. I think sometimes we can get so caught up in the what's, in the things that we're doing, that we forget about the whys behind everything. And so I always tell people, whether they're going after a big goal, small goal, changing the world, changing themselves, you have to start with yourself and what's going on underneath everything that you actually want in the first place.
What about this notion of positive self-talk? It's something I hear my dad tell me all the time. He's like, no, Pickle, don't do that negative self-talk. You got to do the positive self-talk. What does that actually look like, and how do people do it?
I love that your dad says that.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it can be perceived as this nice to have thing, but actually self-talk shapes who we are, how we tell our story about ourselves to ourselves, and not only our self-perception, but how we actually move forward and walk through the world. So it can be super helpful, like when it comes to building self-esteem, or it can actually be the most harmful thing.
What do you mean when you say the most harmful thing?
It informs our relationship with power, with control. A lot of times when we can feel self-doubt or fear, we start to get feelings about the feelings that we have. And that's when that negative self-talk can come up around, oh, I feel so guilty, I should be over this by now. That can stop us from moving forward in the changes that we want to make.
That's a really good point. But what's also interesting is that, sometimes people can't help feeling sad. And so they don't want to fall into this trap of feeling like they have to be performatively positive. What do you do with the negative feelings that you actually do have?
Totally. I love it. You get it. Negative feelings, it's not about stopping what's going on. It's about shifting and making that bounce back rate a little bit quicker. So I like to tease apart the feeling that you're having, so that feeling that maybe feels discomfort, uncomfortable, and then the feelings that you have about the feelings, right? So allowing yourself space to feel the feelings that you have is super important. And then asking, how can I be proactive, not reactive, given the situation that I am in, instead of trying to manipulate it into something it's not?
I actually really like that distinction between being proactive and reactive. Speaking of which, when it comes to sort of setting these goals, my house is like a house divided at New Year's. My husband is one of those, definitely he writes his goals out, he talks about it, he wants a family meeting, and he does it all. I hate writing down these goals because I feel so, I don't know, anxious. What if I fall short? Then I'm going to see that I fell short, and then I'm just going to feel worse about myself. How do you sort of manage the setting of the goal without getting down on yourself in the process?
Yeah, I think some people, like your husband, they like seeing these steps laid out for them, and they like to say, okay, this is the thing that I'm after. And for some people, that can actually be more hurtful or overwhelming because you feel like, okay, well, what happens if I don't get that goal? And so I always tell people that success is great because you get to define it for yourself. So when it comes to looking at your goals, which you want to be successful, right? You, instead of maybe listing out the goals that you want to achieve, list what success is going to look like for you and how you want to feel after you get there.
Now, I like following the feeling.
Yes.
That is excellent advice from our author and mindset coach, Katie Horwitch. Katie, thank you so much. And you're watching NBC News Daily.